about Cartesian plane in terms of words and diagram. So we'll see the hardcore Cartesian plane. So we have to begin by understanding number lines. So what is a number line? So basically a number line is nothing but a line which has number on it, as simple as that. But yes, with a particular condition. You always start off with 0 at one point and then you move across in both the direction, marking at equal interval and giving it numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and at the other end you have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, in this manner. So this is a number line. The speciality being equally spaced numbering. So there is a special name that we need to know, that is your origin, from where things start. Now the question is how to relate a number line with Cartesian plane. How are they related? Well, a Cartesian plane has two number lines. In a Cartesian plane, these number lines are placed perpendicular to each other at their zeros. So let me explain that with the diagram. So we have first number line, second number line. If you keep this two perpendicular to each other, that is making an angle of 90 degree. So this, remember, these two are lines. So they have this number line, sorry, not like number line, they are number lines. So they have equally spaced marking with starting from 0. Okay, so we again, my diagram is not equally spaced, but I'm trying to show you guys this is so. It is so. Tell you guys it is so, right? So one end we have the positive numbers running, and the other end you have the negative numbers running. The horizontal line is often called as x-axis. So first of all, what is a horizontal line? This is a horizontal line. And this is called as x-axis. And this is a vertical line. We call it as y-axis. With these two number lines, the whole plane becomes a grid. Okay, so let me explain one by one. So here I have a program. I won't explain much over here. In a minute or two, I'll explain what is it. So one thing is, it gives you the plane. You have the first number line, second number line. You can see clearly. And we have the numbers equally spaced. So this is a Cartesian plane. Now, this person is talking about grid, right? With these two number lines, the whole plane becomes a grid. So what is this grid? Grid is this. This is a grid. Can you see that? So there are pretty much lines everywhere. And there is a specific way things have been marked if you actually carefully look at it. Okay, so let me clear this up. Right, can you see that? Things are, equally spaced and there are boxes everywhere. So this is the grid. So you can see grid pretty much everywhere. This is the software used for, graphic and things. So here you can see there are grids everywhere. You work with graphic, you work with animation, you work with gaming, you have to deal with grid. That is again Cartesian planes, coordinate geometry, right? You deal with presenting a data, you deal with it's not a grid, but yes, Cartesian plane. So let me get the grid over here. The grid is not there. So you go to the Python code, see, it's so clear, grid, it's already there. I just made true, it is false over there. What should I make it to so that we get the grid? Yes, true, as simple as that. See, it's very easy. So now you execute it, and there's something that I have to keep giving over here. I'll explain what is that. And now we have a system with grid. Can you see that? So we have lines running horizontally and vertically. So this is a grid. This is without a grid. Okay. So thus every point on the plane gets their own address. That is, if I want to talk about this point, I can give some numbers and talk about that. If I want to talk about this point, I can give some numbers. This point I can give some numbers. Any point, it need not be between this on this black space itself. It can be anywhere, right? I can talk about all of this point, including this, by just giving two numbers. Okay, so about the grid address we'll be talking in the next section. So I just want to finish off with, this is your x axis. So this is x and x dash. This is your y and y dash. And this is your O. Right? So you can see from the first definition, the Cartesian plane, the number lines are placed perpendicular to each other at their 0 points. So this is the 0 point and both the 0 points are overlapping. Like this. You can see that. Right? Both the zeros are overlapping. Okay. Here it has not been marked. There is no numbering per se. But yes, both the zeros are laying over there. Now, so remember, generally this is your x dash, y dash. Right? Now, about the grid addressing. So there is a rule. The rule is this. Every point on the plane is provided with the address constituting of two numbers. Okay? In a two-dimensional plane, it is always two numbers in a particular order. So what is that order? It always has to be x and y. So what is this x? X is the point's x coordinate, while y is the point's y coordinate. So the name for this is abscissa and ordinate. Again, x is your abscissa, y is your ordinate, or point's x coordinate or point's y coordinate. So again, still we are not spoken about how to make use of them. Right? Well, when someone talks about x coordinate, it is always the perpendicular distance from the point from the y-axis. This is your y-axis. The perpendicular distance from here means basically you start walking, counting your step from the y-axis. Like say this is your wall, right? You start walking, say towards, right? I'll ask this person, go there, towards A. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 steps. Right? While the y coordinate is to do with perpendicular distance from the point from the x-axis. So one more, say an ant or a small robot, a drone. Okay, a turtle drone. So if I ask that drone to move from this point, right, from the wall of the x-axis, it has to go one step. One step for a human, equal to that of a human. Right? So x coordinate is always measured either left or right, while your y coordinate is always measured up or down. So I've written over here, the second perspective is x coordinate is to do with left or right, y coordinate is to do with up and down. So point A is 4 steps right and 1 step up, so 4, 1. And point B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 step to the left, 2 step down, minus 4, minus 2. Okay, so this is what the address is. This is what the address rule is. This is how you should put it as. Okay, let it sink in. Right, again, we have few more examples. We'll talk about that. Let me just recap. We started with talking about number lines. Lines with number. Rule is they have to be equally spaced, and you start off with a point, and that point is 0, and that is called as origin. Then we talked about two number lines kept perpendicular to each other, that is making an angle of 90 degree. One generally kept horizontally and one generally kept vertically. So horizontally it's generally called as x-axis, vertically generally called as y-axis, named as x dash, y dash. And this creates a grid system. So this is called as your Cartesian plane, right? This very thing is called as Cartesian plane. So this grid system and this Cartesian plane, basically all of it, it's one and the same, gives every point a particular address. If you think about it, that's how GPS works. Every point on the surface of the earth has a particular address, and that's how it, things work. then there is a particular way in which we communicate the address. Okay, that is your x coordinate and y coordinate. Always x first and then the y. X is called as abscissa, y is called as ordinate. Right? So x is your perpendicular distance from the y-axis, y coordinate is your perpendicular distance from the x-axis. Basically, in simple words, x deals with left or right, y deals with up and down. So let's do this practically. Let me execute this. Let us see the actual code, not code, sorry, what it's trying to do. The coordinate of the first point, actually there's only one point which I put across. Enter the x1 coordinate or your abscissa. So let me give a value like 5. Next is your y coordinate, if not ordinate. So 3. Now imagine where exactly it will be. How much right or left, how much up or down. So I not taught you guys right or left, Abhi. So okay, it's to the right and up. So how much to the right though? That's the question. Is it 5 or 3? It is, well, let's watch it. So I don't want this, I don't want this. It is 5 to the right and 3 up. Okay, so you can see here, right, things are thoda here and there. It is 5 to the right and 3 up. Okay, right? Now, so if I want to talk about, say, something to the left and down, how do we go about it? Well, this point is 4 units to the left and 2 units down. And I have written -4, -2. So does it help us? I mean, is it communicating? Yes, it does communicate. Anything to the left is negative. Doesn't matter if this space or this space. Anything down is negative in your y coordinate. Okay, in your x coordinate system, anything to the left is negative. In y coordinate system, anything down from the x axis is negative. And so we have this as positive and this as both are negative. So for 2, -3, 2 means what? See, it's always x, y. So it is to do with left or right. 2 to the right, -3 means 3 down. Oh, here, this is point m. 2, -3. Point n. -4, that is 4 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 up, 1, 2, 3. That's point n. Point q is 3, that is -3, that is to the left. 4 means 4 up. That's your point q. Okay, right? So let me ask you guys few questions. So now, yeah, that's okay. So if I give you guys minus say 1 and say 8. So -1, 8. Is it right up, right down, left up, left down? -1 abscissa is left, right? And 8 is positive, that is up. So we have to look at left up. That's correct, right? So that's how you should think. That's the order in which you guys have to think. Next question. -5, -3. Now think about this. It's quite simple. The question is is 5 left or 5 up or down? Is -5, is it down or is it left? Okay, let's see this. -5 is to left and -3 is down. Okay, again you can have a look by zooming in. So here by default things would have not arranged, like here things are 0, 0 is somewhere else altogether. So you have to arrange it a bit. You can see -5, 3. minus 3. Left and down. Next. Minus 8, 2. What do you guys think? Minus 8 means left, right? Yes. 2 means up. So minus 8 and 2. Okay. So that's how you have to learn. Right? So there is one more thing that I didn't tell. What do you think this point is? Right? The point wherein these two meet. How do you think you represent it as? 0, 0. That's the address. That's why this is called as origin. It's where things start from. Right? So that's where you start moving from. Either left or up. That's why it's called the origin. Okay. Now you guys have a look at the write up. Do write it off. Almost everything. You guys have to write. Make your own running note as well. And see to that you understand things. And then move forward. It's very simple topic. But it's useful, and yes, you need to understand clearly and then move forward.